With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin. One of the 4 items at today's site plan review meeting outlined a plan from Airport Way nominee Trust and My Generation Energy to create a 1.4 megawatt ground-mounted solar photovoltaic system. Luke Hinkle and Bill Gallagher of My Generation Energy, along with Reggie Donahue of Coastal Engineering, outlined the plan this morning.
As proposed, 1.4 megawatt ground-mounted photovoltaic array. The project site is north of the airport on Airport Way. If you're familiar with this road, it's essentially now a dead-end road, and the project is within a few hundred yards of that dead end. Just to provide a little detail on the existing conditions, part of this lot is developed with industrial buildings and parking areas. The portion of the lot that we're seeking to do further development of this ground-mounted array on is upland forest. There will be clearing. We're trying to minimize that as much as possible, and as the plan points out, we are revegetating between, around, and even underneath the arrays, as they're going to be above the ground for the most part. Hitting the highlights of the benefits, we are avoiding, and the numbers are here, 1,000 Goodyear blimps full of natural gas over the next 25 years. In addition to that, 80 pounds of enriched uranium will not be mined, processed, transported, and the remnants of that uranium will not have to be stored. In the process of mining uranium, 40,000 pounds of radioactive ore would have been produced, and that will be also avoided by this project. By the way, all of these are ands. The natural gas, the uranium, 2,150 tons of coal will not be mined, processed, transported, and consumed. And finally, over 300,000 gallons of crude oil. And that's taking the mix of the way electricity is being currently produced for the Cape and extending that out the 25 years of this project. That's actually the first 25 years of the project. In terms of the emissions, you can read the numbers here. It's pretty impressive over that 25 years. And perhaps almost the most important is 80 pounds of spent nuclear fuel material won't have to be stored for 100,000 years. Financial benefits are significant also. If for no other reason, this will help create an economy in this area because we're using local engineers, we're using local workers, we're developing the technology and the capability to build these projects on the Cape and even off the Cape with our workforce. Currently, almost all the electricity that's being used on the Cape is, in a sense, imported from other places, and sometimes very distant places. That money will no longer be leaving the Cape and will no longer be leaving the community of Hyannis. Those numbers add up to a significant amount over the first 25 years of the project. The project will be funded in part from the federal government, and again, that's money that's coming from other places onto the Cape, into the local area, and will remain here. The project is also being financed by a local financial institution, so the benefits from that stay local. So there are a lot of local benefits, and in addition to the environmental and the natural resources benefits, we think this is a great project for the region.
The group then answered some questions regarding drainage as the project is proposed in a wellhead protection zone.
Really areas of the drainage on the site. There's one area where the arrays are proposed, which is presently upland forest, but a portion of over an acre of that area is denuded of vegetation and just basically soils on the surface. We're proposing that the area within the fenced area be heavily vegetated with similar to a meadow, where it's mowed approximately twice a year. That has the same runoff curve as the forest that presently exists. So, in fact, in the area of the arrays, we are improving the situation in reducing the runoff. So we aren't providing infiltration because, in fact, we're reducing it. The other area that contributes to the stormwater recharge basin is 2.5 acres of the developed site that presently discharges uncontrolled, untreated to an area of the site. We based our design on best management practices and RCS design. We did not follow the letter of the DEP standards because it does not discharge to a wetland, and in our opinion it's not required. However, if we were following the DEP standards, it would be to the extent practicable, because we are in fact considered a site redevelopment. So what we've done is we've provided 3 deep sump catch basins that provide oil water separation, as well as fitting those catch basins with valves, so in the event of a spill of hazardous material, there's a capability to shut them off and isolate them from the stormwater recharge basin. The stormwater recharge basin was designed based on the calculations from NRCS 25-year storm. We did not use the bottom area for credit for infiltration. We're proposing that the bottom be planted with a specific seed mix for the application. And we have a 4-foot, actually we have a 6-foot separation from groundwater that we accounted, but with the adjustment, we have a 4-foot separation. So we may not meet the letter of the DEP standard. We feel that it's a practicable, it's to a practicable extent, and it is a many-fold improvement from the uncontrolled discharge that presently is on the site.
Another concern regarding access for maintenance and in case of emergency was also addressed.
So an actual service that would require significant change out of something, you'd have essentially a Polaris 4-wheel drive run down through the roads. The rows are 14 feet, between panels. So there's plenty of room to run back and forth.
So you can get in here with an ATV?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because we were kind of picturing that,
Compared to,
I don't know if you've been up there on a windy day. It's just about the highest point in the town.
compared to being on a roof trying to do the same thing,
Yeah,
this is going to be a pleasure.
Do you want more space on the side of that retention basin to get by it? I don't know, just throwing it out. Think about it.
We might tweak the fence location on that side to make a little more access.
Right, and
Yeah.
you've got some pretty serious, but you've got some pretty serious grades up in here. How are you going to get around this site?
The site grading did allow for a small vehicle to get around. The grade does not stop at the side of the panels, but actually with the fenced area, and our pad went beyond the panels, and then our grading started. So there is some room for a small utility vehicle, mule, grizzly type vehicle to get out there and access the panels.
Okay. All right, because that was probably our biggest concern.
The airport had also raised concerns regarding potential glare from the proposed project.
Solar panels don't reflect near as much light as the ponds that are also out near the airport. I mean, they're made to absorb light, not reflect it. And so even though they have a glass surface, it's a textured glass that's got anti-reflective coatings. And the FAA basically recognizes that this isn't a big source of glare.
Right,
A parking lot with cars is going to be much more of a glare issue.
okay.
So-
But it's all new to us, too, so you got to allay their fears also, okay?
I think it probably deserves a meeting with them to discuss what it is that would make them feel comfortable.
Yeah,
and
I
what
think
we
that
can
would be
do.
a good idea,
Yeah.
okay?
The plan was approved this morning. In other news, Town Hall will be a busy place tonight as the Town Council returns and gets back to business in the second-floor hearing room. Town Council meets at 7 tonight. The meeting will be aired live on Channel 18 and streamed online at the town's website. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.